you would be so lucky to get in. We have this environment right now where people can get in on the first wave. There's Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, the Viceroy just got announced. A very, very famous soccer player, you told me, staying there, I believe.
10 years from now, instead of 1,732 as expected by 6 years from now, I think it's going to be like double than that.
Someone from Switzerland is investing himself in the Riviera Maya and not stopping anytime soon.
Europe, south of Spain, Riviera Maya, Miami, everything's going to be branded in 10 years.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Invested in Tulum podcast. For those who are joining us for the first time, this is a no-holds-bar podcast about living, investing, and enjoying one of the most, idyllic places in the world, Tulum, Mexico. So thank you so much for joining us. Today I have our guest, Jorge Mejía. He is our sales manager at Engel Völkers Tulum, and we are so excited to have him. He is a wealth of knowledge, so I think you'll learn a lot today for those joining us. Jorge, for those who don't know you, tell us about, your background, how you are, or your role in the Riviera Maya luxury real estate market.
Definitely. Hi, everybody. And yes, actually, I arrived in Riviera Maya around 20 years ago, actually this year. And my career it began in hospitality in 2002. I was working for one of the biggest corporations for leisure and hospitality, real estate, and vacation exchange. And that actually brought me to live here originally in Cancun, then Playa del Carmen, finally in Tulum. And in around 2010, I decided that I wanted to do something else. And by 2015, I was already 100% in real estate. And the luxury is because I always been fascinated by branded residences. And that's what actually brought me here.
Amazing. And what changes, because Tulum was a fisherman's village, so what changes have you seen over the years that have surprised you?
A lot. I mean, Tulum was a place where we used to come to disconnect. I mean, where you really wanted to escape from everybody and everything and not even have internet or cell phone. We would come here. There were not even TVs, or electricity. And now see what it has become. It's actually, it's a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, it's fascinating because it's a beautiful paradise and everybody should get to know it.
And there are a lot of nationalities, I heard. I think, there's over, 40 languages spoken in Tulum at any one time and Playa?
I don't know how many, but it's, people from everywhere, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from South America, from the US, from Canada, everywhere.
Yeah, every time I go, it's amazing because if I'm lounging, on the beach, I can't help but look to my left or my right and I ask people, where are you from? The last time I was there, it was London. The last time, a lot of people from Toronto. And you're right, there's a ton of people from Argentina, and I bet, we're obviously recording this during the World Cup of 2026, so I'm sure, and Mexico has just won a game, so I think it's really cool to put Mexico on the stage because it truly is, and I think that's why, we're chatting today about, branded residences and where Tulum is going. So just to kind of kick things off, what exactly is a branded residence? Like, how would you define that?
Branded residences is actually, I wouldn't even consider this, or actually I didn't think about this as real estate before, but actually like a place that you would buy for leisure, because it's not a place where you're going to live. Before, there were not many vacation homes, or if you would have them, before Airbnb or VRBO, you had very close networks of luxury villas being exchanged. And then the spectrum got bigger and bigger. And now it's actually something that is sold as real estate because now you can, before you would find branded residences in private complexes. And now you can find them, in a place that is location where people really want to go. And they want a certain status of the place that they're buying. So I would say this is how I perceive branded residences, basically.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting world because, there's a lot of building going on, as we've discussed many times, oversaturation, which has occurred not even just in Tulum, but in a lot of, sought after places. We're dealing with that as well in places like even Vancouver, Canada, right? So I think it's interesting to tell people kind of why Mexico is so prominent right now and on a lot of these branded residences, and being talked about at conferences, and, a lot of big brands, which we'll get to today, are pouring in, and they have their eyes on Tulum. And it's, for us, very exciting because there has been some bad press about Tulum, and people like yourself that live there, and, you eat, breathe, and sleep this beautiful paradise, and that it's still paradise, and even more so of what they're building with infrastructure. But a lot of people don't know. They just think of what they see in the news, and, there'll be a car on fire, and you're going, okay, yes, sure. However, very safe, very beautiful. And it's, Tulum is one of the top 10 beaches in the entire world. So I think, explaining to people today that are listening is, we have obviously luxury condos, then we have branded residences. Now, what is the difference between the two, would you say?
I would say that branded residence is never at your second purchase. I mean, like, for example, if you have a place to live and then you buy a vacation home or a luxury apartment somewhere else, you will see that not everything is a perfect world. And I guess when you buy luxury, I mean, you don't want to go through the hassle of coming home and trying to take the rust out of the place because the beach, or the sand or whatever. I mean, branded residence is always the third purchase because you already went through the fact that, second purchase is not always as it is. And you just don't want to deal with anything. You just want a place where, like, for example, if you go to your favorite hotel brand, you already know how it's going to be. And when you go, you totally forget about it, and you don't even have to deal with any of this. And I think this is the need that branded residences, especially in hospitality, will satisfy, because you understand already that the value of the service and the time not wasted, it's worth more than any luxury home anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you so much. I think we have talked about that with a lot of experts in the space that we will have on this podcast soon. And, they have spoken about lifestyle. Yes, you want to be connected. Yes, you want community. Community means more than anything to a lot of people, whether you're wealthy or, you're just starting out with your first purchase into one of these branded residences, but this is about privacy. This is about, wellness. This is about, making sure that if you can shut off, that you actually can. And then you have the space to do so. Plus, if you want to go and have the community, you belong to something like a club or a certain, access to wellness spaces, and how we see Soho House or these certain, brands that are pairing with these big brands. Like we talked about certain collaborations between, say, Aloe Yoga and now, a yacht, I believe it was, that we talked about. So what are you seeing that, why are these brands, like, to name a few that are setting their roots down there? There's Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, the Viceroy just got announced, which we're so excited about, in Playa. And already there's the Rosewood, and we've been successful in selling at Mayakoba, the Reserve. A very, very famous soccer player, you told me, which we won't name, is staying there, I believe. So why are they going, and looking at setting up residential so aggressively in the Riviera Maya right now?
Well, I guess everything started around 2006, 2007 when Mayakoba opened, which was originally a private residence area, with hotels. And then the first branded residences in the Riviera Maya was Fairmont and Rosewood. And they opened there. They opened in Mayakoba. And before, it was kind of like a private thing. You wouldn't even notice or know that they are selling real estate there. If you don't go in, or if you're not staying there, or if you don't know anyone who is connected to that brand, because it was very, very, very private, no? But the Riviera Maya has always been this paradise where, we have the Caribbean, we have the connectivity, we have the people, and it's a beautiful place, especially for people, from Mexico City, from Monterrey, from the US, to come here and spend their vacations or their vacation home in places like this, no? So I guess this is actually what really detonated the branded residences in Mexico, basically. And due to this, now I think they always know when is the right time. And I guess it was the right time for them to start coming out, because now branded residences has become, in the past few years, like very, very popular. No? And now it's actually even more that they're spreading the word. And we have these brands that you mentioned coming because, I mean, they feel it's the right time, and the Riviera Maya is already proven.
Yeah, and it shows that their eye and their intel, these brands, they don't, we like to say they don't guess, they follow growth, right? They spend millions of dollars in research and their due diligence, and they don't just go in and wing it. So, we're at the forefront, and we always talk about being in the first wave. Very important. I myself have invested in a lot of, pre-construction and pre-sale, and that is very normal. We have, clients of ours that collect real estate. This is almost like an art form. It's people that are staying, say, at the Four Seasons, they usually are very brand loyal. They stay at a Four Seasons, say in Cabo, and then they go and stay in the Four Seasons in Hong Kong, or London. So I think what's not only fascinating, but it's real that these brands, like Amman and Mandarin Oriental, and the fact that they are looking to grow their brand alongside all of these other amazing brands, it just shows where the growth is. And I think my other question for you is, so what does the brand actually bring to the buyer beyond just the name?
Certainty. I mean, you already know, for example, if you're going to buy into Ritz-Carlton, you already know what the type of service that you're going to expect, how it's going to be the preparation of your house, no, how they take care of details that, I mean, you care when you actually spend time with your family, or, I mean, it's very precious time, no? And this certainty that it gives you is that that it's going to be exactly how you want it, and you are not going to be guessing anything. Second thing, I would say lifestyle, because, I mean, you already have certain standards of how you like to live your life. And especially if you go on vacations, I don't think that you are going to settle to less. So it always have to be higher, no? And even when the place where you're staying maybe is not as nice as your home, it has to have the same quality, and even the service that they provide, no? From butler service, from maid service, from, I mean, just making sure that your property is like new, even if you didn't see it for 1 or 2 years, and you come back to it and it's pristine. I think it's a lot of value, no?
And I think that, what rolls into my second question off of that is, are they primarily buyers for these types of properties? Are they doing it for investment, lifestyle, or is it both? Like, what are you seeing right now?
I think it's both, but it's not investment on the sense that they want a return on investment, or even appreciation. Although, I mean, that is actually kind of like always a given and a bonus. I mean, sometimes, I mean, like, for example, there's people who pay $40,000, $100,000 only on HOAs and maintenance throughout the year. So it's obvious that they don't buy because they want to pay this amount just to take care. But as you said, I mean, sometimes they are collectors because these properties really appreciate because it's so scarce. And sometimes you didn't even know, I mean, when they were sold out. And also lifestyle. I mean, the main reason is like, I don't think that anyone would buy a property in the Ritz-Carlton, for example, in Riviera Maya, if they don't like Riviera Maya or they don't like the Ritz-Carlton. Because even when it's a good investment, you have to live, or you have to have the lifestyle, so you understand it, and you actually want, I mean, it's an emotional sale at the end of the day. And I think, I mean, you buy what you want to get.
And how does the Riviera Maya compare to other like luxury global destinations? Kind of like, let's just say, comparing it to Costa Rica, Los Cabos, Miami even, like, there's some big brands already established there, the same brands that are coming now to the Riviera Maya. So how would you kind of compare? Is it a different buyer? Are they're buying in both places, or?
Depends. Riviera Maya, I would say, I mean, comparing to Cabo or Miami, or, I mean, even Costa Rica, I would say it's a little bit more uncomfortable on the sense that here you have mangler, no? And you have to drive a distance to get to a place, and it's mangrove and it's palm trees. I mean, I guess this jungle and Caribbean lifestyle is what attracts people here. I mean, obviously you have to love the beach and you have to like the Caribbean and no waves. Because, for example, if people in Cabo come because they're from California, because they want to surf, they're not going to find it here, and rarely they are going to invest with us. But if you are a beach person who really like to still enjoy the barefoot luxury, like for example, you can do here, or like people in Mayakoba. I mean, they come to Mayakoba and they would never leave Mayakoba. You have 20 restaurants, a golf course, 2 kilometers of beach. You don't need anything outside, So it's for these type of buyers that either they like the destination, the Caribbean, or they want to be a little bit with the nature. And it's about the people as well, Because Mexican people still are very service oriented, and this is something that they enjoy. Especially, it's very close to the U.S. and Canada, and most of the buyers are actually from these countries.
What makes this region attractive to international buyers?
I guess Mexico is a very rich country. The Riviera Maya, for many years since the creation of Cancun, has been a destination for international travelers. It's very rich in culture, in beaches, in people, nationalities. You can find here people from everywhere. And it's a lot of business. It's a lot of things going on here. The Riviera Maya is a very strong place financially, even when media and press sometimes try to, they do it for a reason. If they see you as a threat, they will try to attack you. Sometimes with false information, sometimes with things that happen and we cannot control. But at the end of the day, if the eyes are turned in the Riviera Maya, because it's a very powerful destination with a lot of richness in people, in wealth, in everything. So
and the peso is still strong. It's been strong for quite some time, and I think that's a good indicator as well. And our partner Carlo Taluzzi, who's the license partner for Engel, Völkers, and Playa del Carmen, he's in Switzerland right now, and he says when he comes to the Riviera Maya and his feet are in the sand and he feels free, and he speaks a lot about we'll have him on the podcast very soon, but he speaks a lot about feeling like you don't have Big Brother raining down on you. And he drives his car a little too fast in Switzerland. He gets a very expensive ticket, and there's cameras everywhere. You can't go a little over the speed limit. You can't, everyone's watching you. And then when the ticket comes, it's billing you as per your income level. So they're watching, right, everything. And again, a very different place, but, someone from Switzerland is investing himself in the Riviera Maya and not stopping anytime soon, plus has a bank account and getting very good returns because, the banks give really good returns in Mexico. And, versus say Switzerland for 0 to 1%, almost nothing, maybe negative some years. But, this is the difference. And I think diversification alone for the wealthy, very important. And not to deviate too much because we have so much to talk about on those topics, which will be for another time because I think they're highly interesting to many people that are, kind of just moving and shaking these days and getting different passports and different residencies and, a lot of tax reasons as well. So we'll get into that another time. But so investment side of things, how do you think that branded residences compare to non-branded residences? Like we talk about AVR or like the daily rate for short-term rental, long-term rental. Can you speak to something along those lines about, if I was an investor looking at branded residences, like why would I look at them for investment reasons?
But this is very interesting question. And to begin is to answer what you were saying before, here in Mexico, we have high interest rates. It's like around 8%. Before it was 11%. And if you were coming from Canada in the early 2000s, you could even get, if you wanted to get a credit card, you could actually pay around 40%. So right now, when the interests are getting higher worldwide, this is something that in Mexico we have always lived. So for us, it's we're surfing the wave. We don't even worry about these kind of things. So this is actually what makes the peso very strong in this particular moment. And as diversification, as you were saying, it's related to this because branded residences alone, in the pipeline of 2026, there's only 910 properties around the world. And I'm saying Dubai, I'm saying US, I'm saying anywhere where you see and find a branded residences. And by 2032, 6 years from now, there's going to be 1,730. So even then, it's going to be less branded residences than apartments or 2-bedroom apartments only in Aldea Sama in Tulum, which is just a small community. So this speaks a lot about resale value, exit strategy, and how people who's already committed and dedicated to the brand, because it's a lifestyle and it's a community. I mean, like, for example, if I'm a Ritz-Carlton traveler, I don't want to go anywhere else that is not Ritz-Carlton. No? And this is going to bring me here. So even before we buy the product, you already know who's going to be coming and staying in it if your purpose is return on investment. No? And it's going to be the same people like you staying in your house, so they're going to take care of it. And at the end of the day, return. Even when you don't buy for return, you buy for the lifestyle. But you already have a list of people who want to come and stay in your property. So I would say those are the factors that make Mexico very, very interesting in terms of investment in real estate, especially in branded residences.
So I think the next question then too is, obviously people want more turnkey. Most of these branded residences come furnished. I know because from personally purchasing with my partner, they made us get the furniture package. It wasn't a bad thing because they want to keep up with the brand, the look, how it feels. And so for turnkey management, how is that benefiting the buyer at the end of the day? Can they go into these rental pools? How are they benefiting from that management as a whole?
In hospitality branded residences, usually you have two choices. No? It's if you want to live in it, then you can basically do whatever you want with it. If you're planning to put it on the rental pool, you have to commit to the rental, to the furniture package and everything, because basically it's like you're buying into the brand. And the brand is not going to jeopardize to change the patterns that they already follow in the standards of luxury. And then you have two ways. No, you have even if you, and there are people who, and the majority of people, they always buy the furniture package because it's a burden to come and buy your furniture here, or maybe you don't find it in the country and you have to find it somewhere else. So, it saves you a lot of time and money. And at the end of the day, actually, it doesn't save you money because most of the time it's expensive and it's worth it. No, it's what you're buying value. But it saves you a lot of time. And I would say that, for example, you have the choice of just keep it like new, which is basically mandatory because when you're away, they will come and clean it and turn on the ACs and do like if you were living in it every day. And this is the reason why it always looks like new. And especially if you're putting it on the rental program, because you cannot allow any guest to come and stay in a place that is dirty or moldy or anything like that. No? So it's always I would say you come, you stay, you leave, and you forget about it.
And that is a luxury, because I know in Cabo I bought a property in 2021, and it's not a branded residence. It was done by an architect that's very well known in the area, but it wasn't branded, and so there is issues with potential mold if I don't have someone go and check on it, or paying a management fee per month. So it's and you have to trust that person. Whereas I think what you said before, certainty is everything right now. Stability is everything right now. In a world where things are feeling unstable, I think this is why our CEO of Engel, Völkers, Stuart Siegel, did an article. And for those of you that didn't get to read it, it was very, very well done. So we can always send you, or we'll link it in the show notes. But that article said so much about branded residences being the next thing on everyone's mind, because it gives you what so many people are looking for, which is to get away from it all. But then when you are away from your property and you have to leave and jet set, get on the plane, that it isn't going to be this falling apart, decrepit place that costs you even more in the long run, because that's what we're seeing right now. People have bought properties in places that, and then the upkeep, it's a lot of work. For those of you listening that are going to buy a property cross border, make sure you know what you're getting into, because this is why the turnkey ones, we're really focused on, and the concierge service and having everything at your fingertips. It makes a huge world of a difference. Now, featured projects wise, What are you most excited about launch-wise? I know we've got some really cool brand names coming to the Riviera Maya. Kind of speak on what's coming and what you've seen so many over the years and have been responsible for launching quite a few. Which ones are the most exciting for you?
Personally, and because of lifestyle, I like W, and I think it's coming very, very soon. I think this is going to be a game changer. It's very, very. I don't know. I just like Starwood. No, I mean I'm not such a huge fan of Sheraton, but I mean W speaks Riviera Maya. Mondrian in Cancun, I think is a great asset. I like St. Regis and I like a Mandarin Oriental to sell a lot because I mean it's going to be only 45 residences. So I mean remain private, scarce, and quiet, which is what Mandarin Oriental owners and guests like. Personally, in Faena, I like the emotional side of it and the celebration of what the brand is, which speaks Tulum. And I mean, Viceroy is also very good for specifically the center of Playa del Carmen. I think it's a great yes. And also MGallery, for example, in Tulum, that has the 4 pillars of what makes the essence of Tulum. So I think they have always, I mean, and this is a thing, no? That when you buy into branded residences, you have to understand that way before the brand already check if it makes sense or not, because they're not going to jeopardize to have a place that is empty or that doesn't have any attraction to it. And because that speaks bad for the brand, no? I mean, if you are trying to sell something that nobody wants, it's like, this is going, doesn't tell anything about the developer. It talks about who's putting their name on it, no? But personally, I like W a lot.
Really cool. I think you just taught me something because I didn't know that W is coming, and I was just there in Mexico City staying at the W. So that's super exciting. Thank you for sharing that.
It's still a secret. But
is it still?
but,
not a secret anymore.
Not a secret anymore. No. It's already there. You can find stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. You hear about, rumblings in the wind, and you're going, okay, what's going here, and there's a patch of dirt, and everyone does that everywhere. We have that here in our backyard. But I think the best part is that you are in that world and you come from that background, and we're so happy to have you, as a person, to contact, to reach out, because you understand that world and have represented many buyers for these type of properties. And I think what you said, earlier about, say somebody that wants to invest in, say, Faena, there's Faena Miami, there's, $20 million, Damien Hirst mammoth, right on, as a art sculpture.
It's amazing.
Amazing. And for people that are artsy and the creatives, and they're going to appreciate that. And that's coming to Tulum in the hotel zone. I think it's less than 400 meters from the beach. It has its own ocean club. Just incredible. And for a fraction of the price, I think that's the other thing that we need to tell our listeners is when you're buying Faena Miami, like the penthouse is selling for, what was it, over $50 million or something way back, like 10 years ago. And we couldn't even try. You could buy probably all of Faena in Tulum for that price. So I think, yes, luxury, when you hear that word, it's kind of overplayed now. So I try to stay away from too much luxury. But it's when you're buying something like this, yes, it's premium. And then when you're buying a premium price, you get a premium rental, you get the premium, experience. But they're actually, when you're in a market that is still in its infancy, like Tulum, why we're pushing so hard, to get out there and share with people is because you're in a place that's going to rise levels we've never seen before. And maybe people think it already has. And I'm sure, we'll get the comments, I'm sure, from people. And the media loves to, have, a little attack on Tulum, I feel like. But when you go there and you see the development and the growth, it is insanely special. And it would be a disservice not to share it, because this is what is happening. And we know before someone is going in and where they're going. And definitely reach out, understand branded residences and what they mean for you, for your family, your lifestyle, how that fits. Because we love to almost, I know Carlo, if he was on here, has a property matchmaking for branded residences because it's, and definitely like, we challenge you to reach out and go through this property matchmaking of what residence speaks to you, right? Because what speaks to me is different from what speaks to Jorge, and, what speaks to, anyone else that you might meet from, say, Toronto, Miami. They might be more inclined, for the reserve at Mayakoba, or they might be an Amman buyer, right? Or St. Regis or Viceroy, right? So,
which is the one that most excites you, Amy?
Oh, I'm really excited for, I would say, Viceroy, because the architect that did my place that I personally bought in Cabo was the same as the Viceroy in Cabo. And so I kind of called it my baby Viceroy. So I think it allows people to enter in at different price points. So, do I love, a Mandarin Oriental? Yes. And I know how we talked about scarcity. You would be so lucky to get in to other ones around the world, but we have this environment right now where people can get in and on the first wave. Well, because, being obviously your relationships you've set up over the years, which is, they don't see that hard work. But I think that's what we're excited about is getting in, getting the selection, the orientation you want with this, where the light's going to hit when you have your coffee in the morning, and how close is it to the wellness center and to the ocean club. It's that whole picture is what we want to share with people, so they can understand, how can they make this happen now, so they can shut off and they can enjoy life to the fullest with their loved ones. So just to kind of wrap up here, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then we'll let you go and drink some more water. Where do you see branded residences heading in the next 5 to 10 years? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see that going?
I think it's going to become bigger and bigger. I think right now it's like, I would say, for example, how it has been my career in real estate, and how I see people selling return on investment based on speculation. I'm not talking about return on investment. I'm talking about speculation. No, it's like, you don't have to do the due diligence. Somebody already did it for you. No? So, I would say that every time people will want more certainty, better quality, and more brands are going to be putting their eyes into certain destinations that are actually attractive, because it's all about the location. We are going to have an increase of almost double in the next 6 years. So, I would say by 10 years from now, instead of 1,732 as expected by 6 years from now, I think it's going to be like double than that. It's going to be a huge. We have Saudi Arabia already coming, and they are all about branded residences. Qatar, Europe, south of Spain, Riviera Maya, US, Miami. Everything's going to be branded, I would say, in 10 years. No? All luxury is going to be branded. Yeah. And there are so many brands. It's not only hospitality, it's also Porsche or Bentley or Aston Martin. No? So it's going to be lifestyle, hospitality. It's going to be very good.
And fashion. I have to, drop in for the fashionistas. But, I was just talking to one of my team members about, Porsche with Hermes, doing this collaboration, and how, again, that these brands, even, Mercedes, I think, was doing something where the building, like, everything was a part of the car. So when you went downstairs to the lobby, all of the, front lobby desks are shaped like the steering wheel of a Mercedes car. This is just, again, all of us that are so creative, and we can't stop creating. It's a beautiful thing, because you're gonna get to be part of that and experience it. And it can be something with a clothing brand, a purse, whether it's, a Chanel inspired, residence, right? My hand would go up and I would be in line for that. But no, it's very true. Like, this is the way the world's going, and to be at the forefront of it in a place that has, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and is just getting its infrastructure and a brand new airport. I cannot believe. I went to New York and had a chat with our a brokerage there, and could not believe how many hands went up when I asked, did you know that there's a new international airport with, over 35 direct flights from the US? They had no idea. And we wish we would have bought in, say, Cabo, a branded residence before the airport, but then they weren't there yet. So I think this is the other thing is now you're getting in first and the airport's already there. Exactly. Right. So
and the thing is that before you didn't even hear about branded residences. No, I mean, if you wanted to get in, it was already too late because they were sold out. And right now, I mean, it's like you have first access to it and before somebody else. And I mean, it's price, exit strategy, appreciation, everything. I mean, on first hand you have, no. So this is the beauty of what we have in our hands right now.
Yeah. And I love that you can go through that, because I think a lot of people that I've spoken to in the real estate world, especially, in Tulum, is they haven't been there for that long, whereas you have been there for, 20 years, and congrats, by the way. So, and cheers to that. Like, I think for people listening, if you're a buyer looking at investing in the Riviera Maya and specifically Playa or Tulum, reach out to Jorge or our team, and we will send you, the VIP, information and how you can get analyzed or property matched with what works for your lifestyle. Because again, everyone's different, and these are such beautiful places, and now is the time to actually enter in when it might not seem that way, but it is. And so thank you so much for joining us, Jorge.
We'll put a link. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, of course. We'll put a link in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you guys very soon, and thanks for listening.